Hi there. Welcome to Tech Talk Weekly. I'm Bob from Creation Station. This is our weekly show where we find two or three interesting tech topics in the news, find a fun library fact for you, get you on your way in 15 to 20 minutes each week. If you have a story you'd like to see covered one week, Creation Station at broward.org comes right to me. Today, my guest is Gloria from Community Engagement. How are you doing, Gloria?
I'm doing great, Bob. How are you today?
Great. And everyone out there, if you are part of the Broward Summer Learning Program, you know Gloria. Even if you don't know her face or her name, she is the one who has processed every single one of those Beanstack requests that you put in. How many was it this year?
Yes,
How many thousands?
thousands. How many registered? We had
Yeah.
almost 12,000 people registered for summer learning program this year,
Then we had each
accordingly.
one of them did, some of them did hundreds of entries.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
No, I saw a really big number. I thought it crossed into six figures this year. I'm like, yeah, we're doing pretty good.
Yeah, minutes read, like 6 million, like almost 6 million books, 130,000, something like that. Most people were recording minutes, so
Yeah.
yeah.
But it's a big thing. Gloria is one of those key people behind the scenes that we like to feature on here because the library doesn't work without people like Gloria.
All right, well,
It
you
doesn't.
don't usually
We're
see
very
my
glad to have
face,
you
so
around. Oh, wait till you see. But let's get into these stories. We've got some
yeah, yeah.
crazy but hopeful stories this week. I know looking at this on your screen, you're like, wait, Bob, 125 degrees is not a hopeful story. And I admit that it's probably not a really hopeful one for a lot of people. Um, basically, this, and as always, all these links will be in the chat for you. So you can go back and follow up on this because every single one of these counties is fully clickable and you can see exactly where. Um, one of the points I wanted to make, like in California, they've already been hitting this 125 degrees a day heat index now. So for them, it's going to be just more of the same. Unfortunately, down here in South Florida, we've never experienced that. So let's give a quick overview here. Extreme heat means anything when a heat index, temperature plus humidity, reaches 125 degrees or more. And what do you think, Gloria? How long do you think you could stand out there in that?
That's pretty hot. So it wouldn't take long to start getting dehydrated and needing
Yeah.
some shade and water and some
And yeah,
relief.
the reason they say 125 degrees is that's the point that your body stops being able to sweat. So
Right.
you can't release any more heat. So if you're doing any kind of activity, your body just builds up that heat. So you're going to have to keep rehydrating constantly, et cetera, on that. Luckily, down here in South Florida, we've never experienced that yet. It's coming. So in the next 30 years, and Gloria, you were telling me earlier when you saw this first story, how many years was it? You said 7? They're expecting something?
In 7 years, we'll start feeling that temperature. But in 30, that will affect like 107 million people instead of 8 million people now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's coming to us. It's going to be here. Again, this is one of those things that doesn't always seem hopeful, but the idea here is that people are beginning to wake up to the idea that we're not stopping climate change. Climate changed, past tense. Now we're working on mitigation. Now we're working on survival techniques, how we survive. Um, that's a great podcast I'll talk about in a couple more weeks. They're coming out with a new season. It's all about flooding in Miami. You do have a chance. This is something that we all can adjust to somehow. What's your plan to adjust, Gloria?
Um,
What are you doing around the house or whatever to try and make things better?
you know, we've researched using solar panels to try to generate some of our electric cost. Of course, our next vehicle we're planning to do have an electric vehicle, which lowers the carbon emissions. They were talking about in this article that there's some pretty easy ways to lower the heat index just by covering roofs or the
Yeah.
roads.
Yeah. Yeah. And part of it, yeah, the reason heat index goes up is because it's all that concrete that just
So,
reflects heat rather than trees and
right,
other ground coverings. You don't necessarily want grass because that takes a lot of water, but other ground covers, trees, everything. That's what works. Yeah.
but a
You-
lighter surface less means less solar radiation
yeah.
being,
There's a
yeah.
great story out there this week. I'll try and see if I can find it and put it in the notes after the show of why putting solar panels up is a great idea, but it doesn't work to cover parking lots. It's counterintuitive that it doesn't work to cover all the parking lots, but it's interesting.
It
It's out
is.
there. And we're all going to find a way. We're all going to find our own way through this. And hopefully we'll be helping each other.
Absolutely. It's a global issue. It's
Yeah,
not just us, it's everybody.
exactly. And then another fun quiz, weird story for everybody out there. So this one is all about toys. And the real question here is, Gloria, how do you know what's a toy and what's not?
I guess we don't unless
Was
we
that amazing?
know.
So out here, so then I've got one picture up on the screen for you. Two in carved relief where they're playing with a little ratchet toy that we all could recognize.
Mhm.
It's just a little stick spinning. It's something we all know, and that's from the 9th century. So we're talking 1400 years ago, roughly. And we can recognize that as a toy, but are those two adults or are they kids or are they what playing and who and what? What do you think about this? When do you think your kids stopped playing with toys or started playing with toys, and would you recognize it?
Yeah. Today, yes. I mean, I would, but um,
Are you sure?
well, it depends, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's where they talk about is
Yeah.
um, if a little kid playing with a ball, that's playing. And they talk about some ancient writing, especially in Greece and Rome, where they talk about about children playing ball.
Right.
But adults play ball too.
Right.
What are you thinking? What's a sparking in your mind about this?
Well, we don't know what, ancient civilizations did or um, you don't know whether it was a child or an adult based upon where these are buried, who was actually using the items.
Yeah,
I mean, we always say here in the library that a child's um, play is a child's work, and that's what we expect our children to be doing through childhood is playing and learning. And um, this brings into focus a whole different aspect that it's totally foreign to me.
yeah.
Saying that,
I picked this story out Sunday or Monday, and then was it yesterday we received that big huge shipment of maracas,
yes,
and I was like, oh, what is children's getting? And it's like, no, they're not for
no,
children. They're adults.
right,
And they're
same,
plastic. And so what happens when these things break and who's going to think about who's going to understand this was a maraca and not a plastic spoon that broke? What
right,
archaeologist in the year 3000 something is going to look back on what they find buried in a landfill here because that plastic's not going away.
no,
Um, yeah,
interesting.
it
It's,
wasn't it. I mean, this is a good long article where they really talk about the differences in what you can do, how you can do it. This was an amazing find, fully articulated, movable doll from
no,
Roman times, and yeah,
they correlate it to the Barbie.
hmm, yep, yeah. Maybe it was. Maybe this
Yeah,
was. This is this is the dress up things. This is the Raggedy Ann and Andy dolls
right,
that cloth things don't last very long. They disintegrate. Your kids use them
right,
up. And so there's how many future generations will even know about that concept coming out. So yeah, I'm kind of curious on how we're all gonna what we think about now versus what we're thinking about in the future. We talked about it last week with DNA storage. How's anyone going to even know that it was stored there? Here's these everyday objects for us that we're used to using. Much longer are people going to recognize remote controls? I'm halfway done with remote controls in my house. The only
Are
thing
you?
I use it for is one television to change channels. The other one is just an on-off switch for the one in the gym, and everything else is voice controlled.
Yep,
It's not a toy, but
right.
yeah, future
Absolutely.
archaeologists are going to have problems with our society, quite
Absolutely.
likely. But it's going to be good. Yo-yos. Is it a yo-yo?
Yes,
Do we? I
it's
don't know.
it looks like a yo-yo,
Yeah.
but it looks like an adult using the yo-yo.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's a
So,
hunting thing where you have a rock at the end of the stick and you're supposed to be, like Ebola that you use and
right.
stuff. I'm
Uh,
Oh, and here's the Morocco one we were
Baraka.
talking about
Mhm.
earlier. So yeah, it's designed to break maybe, the
Right,
kids' things, or maybe it's an adult thing to distract the little ones. So yeah,
right.
the future, reflecting the past, doing all this. And that takes us into our last story for the day. I think they've made movies about this, huh, Gloria?
Possibly. Jurassic Park kind of comes to mind.
Yeah. Um, so this is a story. This is not something that's happening tomorrow. This is one of
No,
those stories that we talk about because it's probably going to happen. They're actually actively working on this. And if
right,
you're like, Bob, didn't you do a story like this last year? Yes, we did, because this same company is the one that wants to bring back mammoths.
right.
And they've made some progress on that. And the reason why they've also added this new, the Tasmanian tiger, wolf, and no, I was right, Tasmanian tiger, right?
Tiger, yeah.
Yeah, you see the shape of it, and it's kind of like wolf shape. That's what makes me think about it. That they might
It's
be doing this instead of mammoths because they can get a lot more DNA sampling
well, it's only,
and a variety of them.
and it's only been extinct for 100 years.
Yeah,
It
less
would
than
have
100
been
years
less.
because we killed them all off.
Mhm.
So maybe this is something that wouldn't be such a bad thing to bring back and fix one of the humans' mistakes. And it's turning out that one of their problems why mammoths are being slower to come back than they originally thought was the number of DNA samples out there to create a viable subset, enough different type animals. And it takes 2 years for an elephant to gestate, which is how they would have to
Yes.
bring back mammoths. It takes 2 years, whereas these only take 6 to 8 months.
And they're marsupials, is that correct?
Yes. Yep, yep, yep.
So
They
a
get to
part of
put
that
them into
gestation period is in the pouch, in the sac. So,
exactly. And so it's a lot easier to try and do that and be able to build up a viable group of animals quicker to see how this process will work. Tasmania is an island off the coast of Australia, for anyone who doesn't know. And so it's a very controllable population. They're not going to get out. They're not going to go rampaging across the globe. It's not a movie scenario that way. Um, we hope, we think. I don't know. I know that there was supposedly a sighting in the outback, which is the opposite side of the continent, but nothing's been proven on that. They think it might have just been a false alarm. You think? Should we be trying to fix previous humans' problems like this?
I don't know, Bob. Like they said, they introduced wolves into the national park, and it's bringing back that ecosystem.
Yeah.
But it's there's a lot of
Tell me,
debate.
I don't
There's a
watch
lot of
very,
debate.
yeah, I don't watch a lot of movies. Tell me, did it work out well in Jurassic Park?
Well, not really. I haven't seen the latest one, so I don't know.
They've made a lot of movies, though. It must have been pretty
Yeah,
good, right?
yeah. It makes a great movie.
Oh man, it is just tempting. I'm just torn
Yeah,
on that one. I'm like, maybe it's good, maybe it's kind of like the passenger pigeon. We wipe them all out from here in North America.
right,
Should we be trying to bring them back? The dodo, we wipe them out. Should we be
right,
trying to bring them back? In those two cases, by the way, there's no good DNA sampling
right.
available of enough of the species to bring them back and in a recognizable form. It's one of those potentials.
How do you pronounce this animal's name? It's a thylacine or
Thylacine, very
yeah.
nice.
Okay.
Yes.
I wasn't sure of the pronunciation.
Yep. Yeah, thylacines. And they've already got another marsupial along those same lines that's still in
Right,
existence in Australia. So they'll should be able to do the basics of the beginning rearing of them and everything like
right.
that. So
But it's still a ways off. They've got years of research
yeah,
and
this is
is
not
this
happening in 2023, probably. They think that they're shooting for 2024 as their first experiments. Um, but yeah, I saw this one
yeah,
come up and I was just like, wait a minute, I know this story. Oh wait,
yeah.
yeah, I know this company. Wait a minute. And then just because you can, should you, thoughts come to mind. I don't know. There
It's
is
debatable.
another really good science story out there for us that am looking forward to, and that is Artemis. It's on the launch pad. So if you have not been following this, I hope you have. Artemis 1, the first time we're launching a moon mission back to space and going out to the moon. And Artemis 1 it's unmanned, but it's heading off into the moon in 2 weeks, August 29th, and it's
Wow.
out on the launch pad now.
We're gonna
We,
we're gonna
yeah.
travel up and watch it.
Oh, we're going to definitely do that. Oh my goodness, yeah. It's on a Monday. I'm gonna die because my dentist changed my appointment till
Oh
like
no.
Monday morning. I know I'm gonna make sure he's got a TV out there. But I can tell you we are going to do our own live broadcast next Monday, this upcoming Monday, so just in 4 days at 2 p.m. on August 22nd. We have a live talk with the NASA engineers. We are the last interview before they start the countdowns, because the countdown starts about 48 hours ahead of launch. And we have one of the lead engineers on the recovery vessels.
Oh,
So
that's
not on the
exciting.
launch
Oh my
vessel, but
gosh.
yeah, Slade Peters is the person who is in charge of the whole program for going out and recovering the capsules when they come back. So it's going to be really fun. And you can log into our Facebook Live event next week, and you'll be able to ask your own questions of NASA, ask your own questions about how this whole program works and what's going to be happening. It's going to be a lot of fun for that.
Don't miss it.
Well, yeah.
That's exciting.
How many chances do you get a chance to talk to a NASA engineer? Come
Not
on.
very often,
I mean, even I don't do
if
that.
ever.
Yeah. I mean,
I thought
I,
you did, Bob.
I try. I try. I mean, I do have a little bit of an in, and I talked to a couple. I've got a friend who was a engineer out at SpaceX, so I know a couple of people. And I get a chance to talk to the NASA people once in a while too. But yeah, it's going to be fun. Like Monday is going to be really good days. It's not necessarily going up the second Monday. The 29th is not
Right.
a guarantee, but that's the first potential launch date. So, and we do a lot of space stuff on this show, so everybody should be interested in that one.
Very
Tell me about
cool.
what you've got coming up, Gloria. What do you
Oh my gosh. What do we got coming
have
up?
you
Oh,
have you
we
actually
got,
recovered from summer yet?
no, I'm still doing summer statistics and reporting, so it doesn't quite end for me
Yeah.
yet. So,
And what
so
else
we
is coming
gotta,
up?
what else? Well, we got the conference on children's literature.
Yeah, when
That's
is that going to happen?
that's September 23rd,
Okay.
Friday. It's for media specialists, teachers, librarians, educators, And it's a day-long event where we're going to be on the theme of coming together. And we
Huh?
have we have Anton Edie, who is the Read for the Record author this year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice, nice,
so it's
nice.
kind of like,
That's a
yeah,
see, that's a good get for you guys. That's
yeah,
excellent.
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So,
For those who don't know, Read for the Record is where everybody in the country reads the same book over a specified amount of time, and everybody tries to read, and
mhm.
they read in schools and libraries and everything like that. So to get the author for us is really nice.
Yeah, that's very cool. And we're also having Karma Wilson, who she does the Bear series. She's a writer. She illustrates also her books. So that's exciting because one of her books is going to be our Books and Bears book for the holidays this year. So
Again, see, Gloria does all this background stuff. If you haven't noticed, folks, she's mentioned three major programs the library system does. Books and Bears, where we give away a teddy bear and a book to thousands of
children,
preschoolers
mhm,
across the county.
right?
Conference on Children's Literature, which is a fairly big little conference down here in South Florida. If you
Yeah,
haven't been here, or if you're in Miami-Dade or Palm Beach, you need to. It's going to be live at Main Library this year, so you got to come on, show up. It's going to be a lot of
and
fun.
it's going to be great fun. And of course, Storybook Festival in November. So, we got something coming up every month.
Every
Every
month is
month.
just we just keep
Yeah.
filling and filling and filling.
Yep.
It's going to be
So,
awesome. Well,
so
thank
stay
you.
tuned.
That
We'll
is
be,
awesome. Thank you so much for being here, Miss Gloria.
oh, this was
If
fun.
you've
Thanks.
got your favorite librarian or a library you'd like to see featured on the show one week, email me, creationstation@broward.org. Stay safe, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Bye. Thank you.